Hi everyone, good night. It's Sunday night. I am really tired, but I made a video and I said I was going to promise that whatever I made in Spanish, I was going to make in English, right? To make sure that everyone gets the info. Sorry about the quality of the video, but I needed to do some other stuff to make sure that the quality was at its best from my cell phone, and I don't have the time right now. I'm also going to excuse myself from, because I did say I wanted to make sure I shared the same information that I share in Spanish and English. So just for this video, it's gonna read through it, bear with me, and then for the following videos, I will make sure to have a script in Spanish and in English, and I'll practice it before I share it with you guys. Okay, so to be fair to those of you who only speak English, I'm going to be reading from my notes. Okay, so this video is about managing expectations with our clients. We've all been there where you feel like you have to say yes to everything, right? And to keep your customers, and that's reality. We don't want to make changes because we want to make sure, we fear customers just walking out because they're not gonna be okay with the changes. Now, one of the problems that we have is that our backlog, because we keep saying yes, keeps growing and growing and growing, and it becomes unhandled, something that we can handle, right? Unmanageable. And sometimes it even seems impossible to keep track of everything that's going on. It's like the list keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people keep getting stressed out about what's in that list. So one of the reasons that list keeps growing is because we don't have a way to manage our products. Okay, there's conversations that need to happen that we tend to move away from it. So how do we manage our product? Well, we need to manage the expectations we have with our clients. Yes, you heard right. We need to manage expectations. So we need to imagine. So you're gonna say, why is it important to manage expectations? Well, because we want to make sure we keep a relationship with the clients, right? We don't want to lose them. That's the reality. We don't want to lose business. Who wants to do that? But at the same time, we need to understand what the client expects from us. But we also need to be clear about what we can offer the clients. Okay, we need to be transparent about that. Many times we're not. The other thing we need to set expectations on is like, this is what we can offer, and this is the way we can offer this, right? We don't have a person just waiting on you 24/7 for everything that comes up just for you. And that's reality. Everyone knows that. Everyone that has a business knows that, unless you only have one client. One of the things we need to help the client with is to define their roadmap. So what I mean by this is to define everything that the client is thinking of needing for that application, for the software, for the product that they're buying from us. And for that, we need to identify the things that the client would like the software to do and why. Okay, we need to understand the why. That is important. Then one of the things we need to do, so let's say you start out with a client and they keep saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. That's usually how it happens, right? They want everything. So one of the things you need to do is to sit down with the client and walk through that list and help them understand what holds the highest impact and value for their operations. After all, there needs to be a reason, right, why they want those things. So when I say that they want these things, it's like when you sit down with them and you start asking them questions, a lot of the times when you go through a series of questions, they might not even realize that what they're asking for holds little to no value to them. Okay, instead of working on those high impact items that are high value, there's going to be a return of investment probably right away. So some of the questions that you can be asking your clients is like, how many people are using, do you have this feature at the moment? How long does it take? How many people are going to get affected? How long have you been doing this for? How frequent are you going to be using this feature? And then one of the things is, how long does it take you to do, like right now, if they have it? Okay. So it's just to start our conversation to identify where they're coming from. But again, it helps them answer the question, why you need it. Do you really need it? Sorry, is this more important than this? Okay, do you want me to work on this? Or you want me to work on this? Okay, because I can deliver this and it's high impact, great value for you, or I can work on this that only one person is going to get affected. Okay. So we need to help clients with that because we need to help them understand what they are requesting and the value that those requests really have for them. Okay, you want to help them create the right roadmap to develop on their product. So one of the questions when you're evaluating features is that, are you going to be reducing cost or increasing monetary gains by adding this to your software or to your product? That's always money. When you talk about money, people understand. So the other thing is, when identifying what they want, is it's more likely that if you're creating stuff for the client, they have to pay for it. So be clear about that. This is going to cost you this much money and it's going to take this much time. Do you really want to do it or not? And since you already had the conversation about the other items and their understanding and they've identified certain things, that's going to help them determine whether or not they want to move forward with the request they just made. The other thing is, you can help them identify features that maybe they haven't thought of, but based on the conversations you had, might have a higher immediate impact. And they had maybe they didn't realize that that was an option. So you're there to help them, to guide them. So one of the things we don't want to do with clients is, when we sell a project, is to sell dreams. Sometimes we do that. How do we sell dreams? Well, we sell dreams by not sharing with the clients the limitation of the applications. That's one of the things that happens. We sell dreams by, when we talk about a project and everything that we can offer, we keep adding to a list and add and add and add and add. And it looks like, wow, I'm gonna have all this. It's like when you go buy a car, or you buying a car, the list on the side, and you're like, wow, I can get all of this. And then they're like, oh no, this model right here, if you want that, you need to pay for this, for this, for this, for this. And it's a disappointment. So be honest from the beginning, okay? Explain to them that if they want all those other features, there's a cost associated to it. Don't sell dreams. You need to build trust with the clients. And to do that, you need to be honest from the beginning. The other thing is, like, if you keep adding stuff to a list because you want to sell, this product, a contract, and now you're saying we can deliver this, and that, and in this time, that, blah, 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 just because you want to sell a product, and then you can meet their expectations, you're really moving away from a relationship with that client. You might lose the relationship, and you're also setting a trap for yourself, because now you have to deliver on everything you promised within a short window of time. So instead of doing that, help the client identify features that are important on the roadmap, and then determine, when are you going to be delivering on the features. Okay, so help your clients with that. Also, remember that it is best to leave room for negotiation when you're talking about this, right? Instead of putting a list that is not flexible, and then the client might say, well, I don't want that, but it's already in a contract and that's what you said you wanted, and then you become unflexible and flexible with them, right? Make sure you leave room for negotiation with the client, right? Again, building a relationship with trust and expectations and transparency. So one of the things is that it is important that both parts are clear on how they're going to deliver, how they're going to work together, right? If you have set of rules that you're expecting from the client to follow, let them know from the beginning. Do not start a relationship on everything becoming an exception, because that is, again, once you put a stop to that, then there's going to be issues. So make sure you set clear expectations. The same thing, how are you going to work with the client? I'm going to deliver this. What kind of documentation are you expecting? Who do I need to talk to? All those things. Make sure you understand how you guys are going to communicate, how you guys are going to request stuff, how you're going to deliver, all those things. So when you start with a client or you're working with a client, you want to make sure you identify things with the client of high impact and of immediate value. You want to look for those things that are little effort, high impact. Those are the ones you want to start out with. So in those conversations at the beginning, are you looking to solve all of their issues in one conversation? No, you're looking to solve their major issues. What are those? And then you have to pick which one you're going to work on first. And like I said, you should work on the ones that are like have less of an effort, but the impact is high. The other thing is, and I'm sorry I keep saying the other thing, but again, I'm reading. I'm going to make sure I don't forget anything. If the client is not keeping a backlog of their items, make sure you keep a backlog of their items so that you can review them with them. Every time a request comes in, make sure you have the time to review with them. Make sure that you address the why and the priorities, how their request is going to get impacted by the new request. You need to have control over your team. You can't let the client be the ones who have the control over your team. This is why you need to make sure you set priorities, make sure you set expectations. Then you can't have your team running around like chicken without a head, just because every time the client wants something, you just drop everything to please them. It shouldn't be like that. If you set expectations, then you can tell the client, this is what you want, this is how long it's going to take, this is when we expect to deliver it. Okay, unless there's an emergency or something like that. Most importantly, remember that in everything you do, you are developing a relationship with the client, right? So that's why we need to make sure that we are clear, we're being honest, okay, and we're being responsible with the client. Help them work on their vision. Another thing is the vision of the client with the application might change over time. So in order to help them with the roadmap, with the vision, make sure that you communicate with them from time to time to make sure that you are working with them in those features that are part of their vision, right? They're still part of their vision. Review that backlog, and if something is no longer part of their vision, no longer what they want to do, make sure that you understand that as well. And like, you know, sometimes we're developing, and I said, sometimes we have our teams running with like chickens without a head, and we're rushing through things because the client thinks everything is a priority. Everything needs to be done now. But then when we deliver, they don't really even care about it. They just leave it there. There's no feedback, there's no anything. They just send us new requests. So what that means is probable that it wasn't something of high impact. And this is why we need to keep those conversations happening. Or at least one of the reasons. So after all this, so one of the things is, if you are creating a new process for your company to handle requests, or you're modifying the current process, make sure you communicate this to your clients. If it's a new client, let them know how it's going to work. Existing clients, let them know that you're changing the way you do things, and then support them. You know, make sure you bring the proper support until they can do it on their own. Okay, don't keep it a secret, share it. So with all this, what I'm saying is, you don't need to drown in your backlog. There's ways to handle it. Okay, just keep working with like the support, setting the expectations, and helping the client understand what they're requesting or whether or not is of any value. Okay, and your backlog is going to start to shrink. Okay, or if it doesn't shrink, it's going to be organized in order so that you have enough time to work on those requests, and they are prioritized as well. Anyway, again, sorry for the breaks, and I'm sorry that I was reading through it. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. I hope this helps. Good night.